So next question is about preparedness. What can we do to prepare our homes and our properties for ice storms?
Well, the nice thing about preparing our homes for snow and cold weather and ice storms is that if you study your home to see where air might be leaking, it's going to help you in cold weather preparedness, hot weather preparedness, clean air preparedness. So that one step of going through your home, reaching out to our weatherization program. A lot of counties have, I think counties have weatherization programs. Okay, or the Energy Trust. There's a lot of organizations that want us to be more efficient with our energy, and so there's lots of programs about checking your home. That's one way to prepare. The other is and if you have one of those folks come out and do an assessment of your home, they will give you advice on things that you can do in your home to kind of keep warm air in and cold air out. But one way to prepare is to make sure you are aware of the forecast. That gives you even extra days to think ahead. Making sure that you have friends that maybe they have a nice fireplace, so even if the power goes out, you can stay warm at their house. So having more friends is always a great way to be more prepared for disasters. And that also helps you purchase those no-slip treads for your shoes. Maybe taking a little extra time in the morning to shovel your walkways, taking care of your neighbors and shoveling their walkways. We can't do that if you don't have a shovel for that. So preparing in advance of just thinking about what happened to me last winter, and where did I fall short? What things did I wish I had last winter, but I've forgotten about it now that it's been nice and warm. So getting some of those things, borrowing them from friends. You don't have to. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money to be prepared for cold weather. Every time you go grocery shopping, you can think about purchasing a few extra of the canned foods that you get if they're on sale. And just do a living kit in your house where you're just rotating those things through. When I buy things on sale, I usually put the newest things on the left and the newest things on the left and the old things on the right, so that I can just kind of in my shelves. It's not a very complex system. So buying some things on sale and having a little extra things at home that you wouldn't have to use electricity to make breakfast or dinner.
I'll add, think about any medications that you may need, because as Alice mentioned, transportation, just getting around is going to be a lot harder during an ice storm. And so ensuring that you have what you need, whether it's, asthma medication or heart medication, that you have a little bit extra in that emergency kit, so that you don't have to venture out to go and get that still life-saving medication. And then otherwise, connecting with community, making sure you know your neighbors, that your heat system is working. And a risk that is worth mentioning, it doesn't happen often, but it can and does happen, is carbon monoxide poisoning. Oftentimes, if the power goes out, people may think that they can rely on their gas oven to stay warm, and that is a pretty big no because of that carbon monoxide poisoning. And what can happen there is it kind of interferes with your body's ability to carry oxygen, and that can, at high doses, result in death. But it can also, at lower doses, just create a lot of confusion, and you're not able to react. You may be lethargic, you might faint, and not then be able to take kind of your next life-saving measure. So making sure that you understand kind of some of the other risks that might come with losing power is good too.
Yeah, I would like also to add, since you're talking about carbon monoxide, having carbon monoxide detector in your house, that would be really good planning. Could be one of your planning steps to do during winter storms or ice storms, because we're expecting to lose power. And also make sure that you have your phone charged, your computer's charged. As you know, we're all advising people to use their phones, apps to check weather or get other notifications. So make sure that it's all charged up. Have your flashlights ready so you know where it is in case the power goes out. Those are really good steps to take. And also, I want to emphasize again, public.alert.org. We have information actually has been translated in over 100 languages about winter weather critical messaging. It has all tiny, really actionable items you can take to get prepared. So we want to make sure that people know that resource that exists there with 100 languages. So make sure, so if you find it, share with other friends who you know may benefit from that information in their own languages.
I come from my culture is very extended family based, so I'm pretty used to having people sleep on my couches, right? Come visit. So if you're comfortable with that kind of thing in your family, and we have heat, we have a gas fireplace right now that if we have power or not, our home is going to be warm. So consider inviting people over. And I know I'm a big fan of movies. So when I invite people over, I invite them over for movies and dinner. And then they can stay there in the coldest parts of the day, which are often overnight, but not always. And I think thinking about so we're talking about safety and preparing. I think it would be friends, supplies. The nice thing is our cold events can last up to 2 weeks, and that impacts a lot of our infrastructure. So in this last recent cold weather, it got cold and broke water pipes, which caused a lot of damage to people's homes, to schools. So emptying your water hoses, keeping things that we haven't really thought of in Oregon for quite some time. So like the strategies of letting the water drip on those evenings will help sometimes prevent pipes from bursting.
And there is a great resource, actually, I was reading about last night on portland.gov/water, I think weather. They have great resources about how to protect your pipes during extreme ice events, and learned a lot of stuff. One of them including opening your cupboards, like in the kitchen and the bathrooms. So that helps the warm air in the house to be able to go into our pipes, and then they'll stay somehow warmer so they won't freeze and burst. Actually, you can use a hairdryer to kind of warm up your some of the water pipes to avoid that water. Nice. To avoid pipes break. So there's a great resource there. I couldn't believe how many information was there.
Thank you.
We've talked about making friends, reaching out to your neighbors. And you really, if you know your neighbors, then in advance, you know which neighbors that you're going to need to check on. And so Nadej talked about medications. I have an older neighbor who has dementia. And so she's not going to be planning ahead to pick up her medications. But I know that, and I can offer to go pick up those medications for her, or I can talk to her grandson about it. So again, knowing your neighbors and kind of planning ahead, paying attention to the forecast can help you make sure you're not having to get out there and travel during the weather if you don't have to.
Yeah, I would like to share one more fun fact I learned recently is that if especially if you're expecting power outage, that if you can put your freezer, your refrigerator freezer to 0 and then stack a lot of water bottles, that would help prolong the food in the freezer to stay really good, because it will take a while for that water bottle, the frozen water bottle, to melt. So I thought that was, wow, that's a tool we can all do to protect our food in case of power outage. At the same time, it doesn't cost you much to do at all. And also, as Alice mentioned, make sure that anything you learn, you share that with your friends and your neighbors. Because in the end, if the winter storm is here, we all survive it, and no one neighbor get, to lose their food or have to call emergency response to get help. So we're better off as a community when we're prepared as one. That's what I'm trying to say.
And Regina was mentioning earlier that those power outages for our families that are barely making it to afford to fill their refrigerators, that the power outage can spoil food and then really put people behind. So if you know a family like that, just telling them, hey, I overbought some stuff, can I bring some things over? Or learning a little bit more about SNAP benefits and how they might be able to help a family who lost something because their power went out and they weren't able to keep their food stored. It's a big part of it as well.